What's up? It's your boy Carcino here. Let's talk about the split or the breakup of No Limit Records. Well, I tell you what. The only people I know that stayed was the 504 Boys. Other than that, I think everybody jumped ship. But let's talk about the good old times, shall we? No Limit Records blazed the trail in the music industry when P and everybody else from independent to major. And he did it his own way. And what I mean is, he saw a trend in what he was doing and what mainstream was doing. And with Tupac's demise and Biggie's demise, there was a slot open. But mainly because of Tupac's absence, they could capture some of the West Coast audience and some of the Tupac fans that were out there that want to listen to some Tupac-ish type music. So, P, being the businessman he is, he basically played the theme of a Tupac, giving shouts out to Tupac's on his songs, and everybody was pretty much sounding and trying to be like Pac, wearing the bandanas, the tank, the tees, and the songs are starting to sound a little like Tupac a little bit. And just dropping little references about Pac, everything. And the True album, even though it blew up, it didn't make really commercial success, but it did later on, because that album consistently sold. Even though it kept a low number with most numbers would fall off, True album stayed consistent for a very long time. Then it started to go up. Once Master P put out the song Is There Heaven for a Gangster on the Rhyme and Reason soundtrack, that song broke him into the mainstream. And little did they know, he had an armada of talent all surrounding him. This is before they signed Mystical. Now when they signed Mystical, and they got all this, and they got all this talent around them, and everybody's like, man, let's see what they put out, and because this is dope. And they coming with all these tracks. They put out Ghetto Dope, and it just blew the walls off anything. SoundScan, they selling records like Death Row used to sell. And why Death Row ain't out there the way they used to be, No Limit became like the new Death Row Records. Except for all the craziness is gone, and they can't be out there, and they done lost their main star, and now this has become the new standard, the Tank. And they running with it. And they coming with an album like every month. Every month it's a new artist coming. You never saw that. This is what Wu-Tang wanted to do, but didn't quite get there. This is what the plan that RZA had. Like, we could distribute these records and put out our own artists every month. But they have record labels telling them other companies, because they work for different companies, they have different release times. They didn't want to do that. They feel like that's going to be a conflict of our money. But Master P showed you, if it got the Tank on it, people will buy it. If they could buy a cheeseburger, or they can spend $10 a week on this, they could buy a CD $10 a week. I'll put out an album every week if I could. And he was right. AG, my boy, bought every No Limit CD there is. If it had the Tank on the back, he was buying it. If you saw that Tank, he was like, I never heard of this guy, but it's the Tank. I'm buying it. That's just what it was. So let's just get to the part where things are going awry. Because now they finna make the big money. The big major money. They getting offered a big contract with I'm trying to think of the record label. But when it was time for them to redo this contract they had, everybody had to sign off on it, which wouldn't be a bad thing. It's just that now Master P sold about 22 to 24 million records. I believe it's more like 24 million records. And at this point, they're going through the roof. And their distributor at the time was Priority Records. He had this big deal coming up where they finna do this transaction where they finna make the most money a contract a rapper has ever got for a record deal. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. But in 2 years, Master P sold 22 million records. And Master P is the only owner of his label that had next to Luke Campbell. Let me reiterate. Luke Campbell is the only other owner of their label to own their masters and publishing on their tracks and songs. You see, all these guys who get this independent label, they normally will give them hundreds of millions of dollars in place of it and say, well, I can't give you your masters. We'll put your catalog and everything up for like later you can acquire it, but we're gonna pay you get you your own label that way, and we'll advance you $80 million. They be, ooh, wow, and they take it, and that money is for the label, so that's for your artists and everything else, and they still own and get money off your catalog. The actual record label owns your catalog and your masters. So a lot of these companies own the masters themselves and not the artists. Master P, what he did for his artists, because he did look at them as family. It wasn't like, it was more like the NWA story. It was more of a handshake thing. And here comes Sneaky Priority and what they do. They do their business this way. So they shook everybody's hands. They all got contracts. And once they did this big transition, everybody, and I do mean everybody, all the producers ran out. This is like almost like the NWA story. They ran out to go get lawyers, the producers, which was Beats by the Pound. But everybody in there had the best contracts ever as an artist. Because they had 50-50 splits on everything. Their publishing, their masters, everything. P was willing to give them everything. Like, you guys work for me, you're going to leave here with something. You're going to get a percentage off your songs, everything. He was willing to split with them. Because they were there and started it. Nobody else in the history of rap I know has ever done anything like that. That's just all I know. KLC and the rest of Beats of the Pound, they felt the contract wasn't beneficial towards the producers. Which was, they like, man, we make the beats. I know we don't rhyme, but, you know, I'm not signing. And mostly everybody else just followed KL's decision. The rest of the team. And these guys are mostly in the, you know, they in the thing all day. They not street guys, but they don't want to sign. So P was like, you know what, F them. And he didn't know he was on three-way when he said it, so KL heard it. And KL was like, wow, that's how he feels? So his feelings was hurt, and he was just like, man, I ain't going through that. But they had a phone conversation after that, and it's like, man, this dude said, F me. And I was the one trying to make it work. And all they wanted, he wanted Master P to apologize to him, and P was like, nope. And that was it. Beats by the Pound, they all left. And P is like, are you crazy? I can get anybody in here. And then KL went to work with people like Bun B, you know, and BG and all those guys, and started getting all them people things, like getting them on. But and what happened was P decided his ego was so high at this point. P didn't want to hear nothing when people was saying stuff to him. He went and got these other people to try to replace Beats by the Pound and brought them in. And even when KL tried to go out and get another, they became the Medicine Men. And they tried to go out and do some beats together. He was making it difficult for them because they couldn't use the name Beats by the Pound. They were just the Medicine Men and trying to get stuff done, and he was using his power and influence to limit their work. So they couldn't use the Beats by the Pound name. He owned it. He had Beats by the Pound name and still was keeping it. And just had 3 other guys on there. And nobody liked these East Coast producers that he had. And so when he brought most of these guys over, and they was like, I don't like this dude. And one guy was from 3rd Ward. He's from the Magnolia too, so he knew P, they knew him. They just didn't like him. Like Mia X and all them, Mr. Servo, Magic, you know, all them dudes, they just didn't like him. And they kept telling him, like, man, we do not like these new producers, man. And P was just like, we don't want to work with these guys. And P just got pissed. And was like, man, you know, like, this was like the biggest thing in the world to P. So P went to Mr. Servo and said, man, get them back. You know, get them back over here, man. And he was trying to work his magic over there and get it going on, but it just wasn't family no more. And everybody kind of left. But Mystical turned it into something else. Because Mystical is what really started everybody into like leaving. And that hurt everybody. Because once Mystical was like, yeah, I'm out, everybody was like, well, if he left the tank, then ain't no need of us staying. Cause we don't like these new guys. They don't know how to work with us. And He is mad at everybody and was like, look, all y'all that want to leave, leave. Just go. I thought this was going to be family, but y'all want to leave? Go ahead. And so he restructured the record label, and he did it a couple of times, but now it's like No Limit Forever. He had changed it from No Limit period to something else. And from that point on, the 504 Boys was down. Just family. Romeo, Silk the Shocker. But other than that, that was it. That was the split. Once Beats by the Pound, them producers left, it was done. But he was fair with these people, man. He was fair. But the mystical thing, that turned into something else. We'll get into that later. I'm out.